Guys, I know most of you hate to play with the black pieces, so today in this chess video, I will show you this really cool opening gambit which has so many amazing tricks and traps. So let's get started. So we start with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6 and then bishop c4. This is the Italian game which is the most popular opening in chess. So here on the third move itself we reveal our tricky little surprise f5. This is the Russo gambit. Now the engine considered this f5 move a little dodgy because it assumed that white is going to play the perfect move from here. But for an average player who has not opening, this is never going to be easy to handle. I mean, there are infinite ways in which the white player can go wrong by playing very normal looking move. Anyway, so let's break it down. The four common response you will see from here are e takes on f5, capturing this pawn immediately, d3 defending this pawn, d4 counter attacking the center, and then knight c3 again trying to defend this pawn. In fact, this knight c3 move loses almost instantly because after you take on e4, knight recaptures and then d5, you fork the knight and bishop and black simply win a free piece. So knight c is sorted. Now let's look at some really cool traps in all the other three variations. Let's start with the most common response, pawn takes on f5. Now firstly you push forward, take the knight, and surprisingly the knight has nowhere to go. He can't move here because of the queen, and these two squares are also covered by the knight, so knight g1 is his only option. But some people just do not want to go back, so they will try queen e2 and pin the pawn. But you can do the same, so eventually white is forced to go back home. Now as black, the basic trade-off in the Russo gambit is that you slightly expose your king, but in return you get good space in the center, forcing white to go back, and this allows you time to rapidly develop your pieces. Now you have to be careful about this queen h5 check. Therefore knight f6 make perfect sense in most variation, and plus here this also prepare for d5. Now the most played move by white here is d3, but that's a big blunder because now you have the cunning move knight to d4. It's a double attack, so queen goes to d1 or d2, doesn't matter, you still grab the pawn, give a check, and when the white queen takes you play this killer move, taking the pawn, hitting the queen. It also a discover check, queen is gone. Let's go back and check out another variation. Now after knight f6 we look at d3, but another common move you might see here is knight to c3. Again we have knight d4, queen goes back, and then you challenge the center with d5. Your bishop is now ready to fire, white gets the pawn, but after takes you recapture on f5 and you are already much better. The engine gives a half point advantage to black. Now let me show you some sample lines and you realize how white struggle in almost every variation. For example, if knight e2, your bishop g4, and look at this, you are attacking him from everywhere. Going back, if you play c3, hitting the knight, then you have this absolutely stunning knight sacrifice. After takes, it's a discover check, the king moves to the side, and after this bishop check, black is clearly winning. In fact, after the knight comes in between, bishop e2, and it's actually a mate in 3. Can you find it? Let me know in the comments. Alright. Going back in this position, when we have this check, instead of knight f1, he might straight away block with the knight. But now you don't even need to take it. Instead you have this mind-blowing move, bishop to c2. The queen is trapped, and by the way, if he captures the bishop, then we have this beautiful checkmate. Going back in this position, we look at knight e2 and c3. But you might wonder about what about bishop takes on b7. I mean, it's look quite natural because you obviously get a free pawn. But then after e3 you sack the rook, and now even e2 is great because after knight takes, bishop c2, and again the queen is trapped. Going back after e3, even if he does not take the rook and let's say he captured the pawn, you have rook d8 and you are targeting this couple from everywhere. This is completely winning for black. Now after e3, if he tries something like d3, blocking off the attack, then you have this queen check where you target this bishop as well. When he blocks, you take the bishop and he takes your knight, and now you jump on to the other corner and this rook is also gone. Okay, now let's go all the way back. We play the Russo gambit where white accepts it, we push forward, attack the knight, and we just saw so many traps when white play queen e2 and then eventually knight g1. That's all for today's video. Do subscribe to the channel and I shall see you in the next one.